What is going on, guys? Welcome to today's recording. This is going to be on YouTube as well as on my podcast, Collecting Keys. So wherever you're listening to this, watching this, if you want more of me and kind of what I do, then obviously go and check out my other channels. I have the Collecting Keys podcast. I also have this YouTube channel, which make sure you subscribe. Really appreciate it. It helps me get some more real estate content out there. For this video today, I am going to be diving into how to get started finding real estate deals when you have no money at all. And I'm going to kind of walk through the phases of when you have like zero money to when you have a little bit of money to when you actually have money to start investing. As a quick note, if you are somebody that right now has like $20,000 to $30,000 kind of like saved up that you are planning to put into your business, you will go a lot faster if you kind of just jump to the third item that I'm going to talk to in this video and you don't start with like the early stuff. I mean, if you want to be frugal, you can start with the early stuff, that's fine. But if you're serious, you can kind of jump to the end, which is going to be the paid marketing. We're going to go into how to find deals by investing your money, and you'll be able to move a lot quicker than kind of going through the hustle pieces that we're going to talk about at the beginning. If you are new here and you don't know who I am, my name is Mike DeHaan, and in 2018, I left my corporate career as an engineer. I hated it. I did not want to be an engineer. I did it for 5 years and I was working at Boeing, and I decided that I just needed some kind of change. So I left, decided I was going to do anything else. I spent a couple years working at a gym, driving for Uber, doing odd jobs on Facebook, and got into real estate because it was in every single like wealth building kind of book that I could come across, and podcasts and everything else. Started flipping houses with some partnerships, got into direct to seller real estate / wholesaling / flipping / buying rentals, and built that out into a business that now does a few $1 million a year and allows me to kind of live my life how I want. I have 30 people that work for me over there, and I make content because along with the real estate business running, honestly, without me being super involved, I just love helping other people sort of go through the same learning process and realizing that life doesn't have to be as boring as just sitting in an office or waiting for the weekend or waiting to just not have to, waste your life away, right? And you can have a lot of control over your finances, building wealth and learning how to create real money. And I think real estate is a great avenue to do it because it is one of the only businesses that I have seen time and time again allows people to make serious incomes and build a lot of wealth as like a small company of like 1 or 2 people. You don't need to have any special expertise. You just need a lot of work and persistence to kind of understand how things work. And so when it comes to real estate, to be honest, you do kind of need money to make the big money, but I also acknowledge that not everyone starts there, right? And so if you are serious about wanting to get into real estate and building wealth and you don't have a penny to your name, what exactly should you do? And as you're starting to like think about this, right? One of the most important things to realize is that early on, you're probably not going to do that by actually buying the real estate yourself, okay? You're going to do that by learning how to identify opportunities and then working with other people to have them buy those opportunities, and you will basically get paid for doing the work. And so this can be done in a couple different ways. This can be done by either wholesaling a deal, by getting a signed contract to purchase a distressed property and selling it to an investor for a wholesale fee, or this can be done by finding a retail opportunity that you then refer to a realtor who will pay you a commission or a marketing fee for finding that deal. It doesn't really matter. And really, if you start to go through the things that I talk about in this video, you'll be able to do both. And if you do a couple of these every single month, you'll start racking up thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars that you can put into your business and get things moving forward to start and make real money over the next 12 to 24 months. One last thing before we dive into this, there's an important thing to understand. When you are building any kind of business, there are 3 main pieces of currency, okay? There's going to be money, which is the obvious one that everyone knows. And then the other piece of currency are time and energy. And if you are coming into this and you don't have any money, then you're going to need to double down on the time and energy commitment that you're willing to make. Ideally, you would have all 3, and that's how you can sort of like structure a business and get things moving at a rapid velocity. But when you don't have one of them, you need to double down on the others. And so you need to be going into this. If you don't have any expendable cash, to be ready to work hard, spend a lot of time, spend a lot of energy pursuing these opportunities. If you're not down to do that, you probably shut out this video, go watch Netflix, go do something else, because this probably isn't going to be for you and you're not going to be successful. You're just going to be spinning your wheels if you're kind of like doing a half foot in, half foot out and just dabbling in these sort of things. All right, so we're going to dive into the meat of this thing. So ultimately, our goal with this is going to be to learn to be a deal finder so that you can either make money off of these by setting others up with the deals that you're going to find, or to be able to ultimately buy them for yourself over the long term. That will come a little bit later when you have money. And there are 3 different ways that you can fundamentally do this. 1 is through warm outreach, which is going to be reaching out to people in your circle. 2 is going to be cold outreach, which is going to be reaching out to people that have no idea who you are. And then 3rd is going to be massive cold outreach, aka marketing. And that's what you're going to do when you have a little bit of money to spend and you are ready to take things serious. So going through these, first off, warm outreach. And this is probably the simplest one to start with because you can be comfortable talking to the people that you are going to be approaching about kind of your intentions. And so when it comes to reaching out to your warm circle about trying to find opportunities, it can be a little bit awkward. You can have people that kind of like make you feel weird about asking or kind of shut you down, but it's probably the most important one to get started with because if you do find an opportunity, it's going to be the warmest conversation you're going to have. And what this can look like can be extremely simple, okay? You can literally just go to your social media, you can go to your school, you can go to your gym that you go to, you can go to your church, you can go to your D&D group, you can go to your family functions, you can go wherever you want and just start letting every single person know that you are starting a real estate company and you're looking for somebody that might be interested in selling their property. You don't need to say any more than that, right? As you do that, most people will tell you that they don't know anybody. Most people will say, why are you doing that? That seems silly. You'll get a lot of that. You have some people that maybe even kind of make you feel bad going, oh, you're a bigwig real estate investor now, are you? F those people. Okay, you can ignore them because they're not going to be your friends much longer once you start making money. But as you go through, all you need is 1 or 2 people that have a friend, a relative, a neighbor, a acquaintance at work, whatever, that has a property that they're looking to sell, and they're going to make that introduction, and that is going to be your first opportunity. Okay. And then once you go and you see that house, you make that connection, you can start to assess if it makes sense to wholesale it, aka get a contract at a discounted price to be able to sell that contract to somebody else or to refer it to a realtor and to sort of like have that conversation with the property owner and see what kind of makes sense for them. The details of that are obviously kind of tricky. Selling a home is a big commitment. There's a lot of different pieces that you're going to have to uncover. But as you sort of look at the home, hear their situation, start to figure out, what kind of makes sense for them. And ultimately the goal is to come to a win-win situation. And then you can work to find the end buyer or the realtor that's going to work with them and you can make your money on your end. And so a big thing to keep in mind is that a lot of this is a people business. Real estate is all about learning to solve problems and learning to build these kind of connections with individuals, whether that's with sellers, whether that is with your buyers or your realtor connections or your money connections or whatever. And once you get good at both of those things, then you can start to bridge them together and you can make money on the middle and the spread. And that is where I've made a lot of money over the past couple of years. And so if it's a distressed property, what you're going to do is you're going to get a signed contract with them. If you need an example of a signed contract, you can just comment below and I'll send you one. And if they are more of a realtor lead, then you can go and connect with realtors that see if any of them will be interested in selling this person's property, make that connection, just let them know like, hey, you're hoping to get a marketing fee for making the connection or a referral fee. And the people will know how to compensate you on the middle as you sort of have this conversation. All right, so that's warm outreach. Once you have gone through the entire, I would say like your entire ledger of people that then you can start exploring doing some cold outreach. And cold outreach is a little bit different because you're going to be talking to people who have no idea why you're talking to them or what your intentions are or who you are. Okay. And so there's a few different ways you can do this. The simplest way that will cost a tiny bit of money, not a lot, a few $100, is going to be to use a list provider, whether that's ListSource, PropStream, Deal Machine. There's a whole bunch of different ones out there. Those are 3 that I personally like. You're going to pull a list of all absentee owners, which is AKA landlords, okay? You're going to take that list and you're going to skip trace them to find their phone numbers. There's a lot of different skip tracing platforms out there. Deal Machine even has free skip tracing, which can give you all the numbers right there. And you're going to start calling all of these landlords and just introducing yourself, saying that you are a new real estate investor. You're looking to buy some properties in the area and you're interested if they're interested, and you're curious if they would be interested in selling. Most people will say no. On average, for our company, this is with a full-time team doing this, it takes over 90 calls to get someone that is willing to sell the property to us. But it does happen, and that is for our trained team. So realistically for you, it could be thousands of people. It could be 5. You just never know and start putting in the work. But going through that process of talking to all these individuals, you will start to, get better at talking to people, get better at understanding what kind of situations real estate owners are in, what kind of people might want to sell. And ultimately, you will eventually find somebody who's willing to sell you their property. Once you find that, you're going to do the same process that you did if you found one during the warm leads sort of scenario, right? You're going to figure out if it is a distressed individual that would make more sense selling to an investor. In that case, you'll get a signed contract. Then you will pair that up with a buyer who will pay you a assignment fee for that deal. Or if it's a realtor style lead, the house is in perfect shape, then you're going to make an introduction to your realtor friend and you're going to let them know that you're hoping to get paid for the deal. Cold outreach, you can start to reach a lot more people very, very quickly. Their conversations are hard. You will get people that swear at you, they get upset, they don't want to talk to you. That's kind of part of the deal, but it is what it is. Okay, that's how we're going to make money. That is the hard challenge you're going to overcome, which you're going to get paid for down the line. So hopefully now you've gone through those couple of things. You've started to maybe make some money. You're putting a little bit aside in the bank. And now you are ready to start talking to more motivated individuals or start talking to people, to start contacting more people more regularly. And the easiest way to do that is going to be through paid marketing. And so paid mass marketing, there are a couple of different ways you can do that. Either you can send people letters, and this is what we do a lot in our business, what I recommend for people that want to maximize the number of people that they are hitting for the effort, or you can hire a cold calling company, which will basically be the same as doing cold outreach, except you're going to be paying people to do that for you. And so when it comes to either of these things, there's no right or wrong options. A cold calling company, the one we use is called Simply Leads. $2,000 a month is what they charge, just so you're sort of prepared for that. They do all the data and everything else, and they give us on average 40 to 50 leads a month. And those are people that have already been screened by the cold callers and are more willing to have kind of like that offer conversation. And so that's one way you can start. Direct mail is going to get you the most motivated individuals. And what direct mail marketing typically looks like is you're going to go and use that same list provider that you used for the cold leads. You're going to pull all the lists in that system that come from things like bankruptcies, people with liens, people with tax delinquencies, people are getting divorced, the absentee owners, again, people have vacant properties, all that sort of stuff. And you're going to send all of them a letter that very simply just says, hey, this is my name. I am looking to buy properties in this area. I'm very interested in your property at 123 Main Street. Would you be interested in considering an offer on that property? Please call or text me at this number. I'm going to send that to every single one. You will probably get, I don't know, say like 0.5% of the letters that you send out will call you. So after you send out like 3,000 letters, probably get like 15 calls back, which would be pretty great. And then hopefully within those, you will find somebody that is willing to work with you and sell you that property. It's not a guarantee. There is obviously a lot of variance that happens between the markets, the kind of people that choose to call. You get a lot of people calling that ask to be removed from your list. That's all part of the game. It is a numbers game. You've got to keep doing it over and over and over again. On average, my company sends about 4,500 letters for every deal that we get, but the profitability on those deals is typically over $20,000. And so for us, it makes sense to be spending that money because we always get a positive ROI. And so you can start to stack that up. And then in an ideal space, if you have a decent amount of money you're willing to spend, I would spend $3,000 on direct mail. I would spend the $2,000 on that cold calling company. And then you're going to just sit there and work the leads as they come in. And you're going to have as many conversations as you have and just wait for the ones that are ready for you to contract and then assign them to somebody else or to refer them to a realtor. And that's how you're going to start to make your money. Ideally, you're going to be doing this until you get up to about $100,000. Once you get $100,000 in your bank account, then you can start to look at things like buying rental properties, taking down flips where you're actually going to be, closing on the property and fixing it up, doing things that have a little bit more risk, but a little bit more upside. But it's very important that you focus on just the transactional early phase of the business until you get $100,000 in the bank. Otherwise, what can happen is you can buy one of these properties, it can eat all of your money, you can stuck holding on to it for a long time with very little return, and you just basically ruined your chances of doing anything over the next quick while, right? You can be stuck with that property for a very long time. Like literally right now, I have a property that I bought that I probably shouldn't have, that I've been trying to sell for 8 months. And the fortunate thing is because I do a bunch of deals every single month, it is not really that big of a deal and I can just eat it. But if that was the only property that I bought, I would be in a very bad spot. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. So you're at that phase now where you have leads coming in, you're having conversations, you're doing all that sort of stuff. That should be enough to get you started. And then you continue doing that until you make that $100,000, like I said, and then you're kind of off to the races. And there's obviously a lot of other stuff that happens in the middle. Of course, it's not as simple as it exactly sounds. You're going to have a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of work that goes into it. People in our scale community, if they kind of go this hustle route to start, on average, just to set you up so you know what to expect, take between 6 to 8 months to get their first deal. But once that first one comes across, it builds that confidence. It tends to open the floodgates, and a lot more can come significantly faster after that. Anyways, guys, it's really not rocket science. Just like any business, it comes down to your lead generation, aka marketing, and your sales, being willing to talk to those prospects and figure out how to make money with them. And once you conquer that, you would be surprised at how quickly you can start to add zeros and or commas to your bank account. And I mean, it is not uncommon for people within 2 to 3 years of starting to figure this out to have businesses that are spitting off close to $1 million a year. And realistically, they're a team of like 2 to 3 people. Don't believe me? Go and listen to my podcast, Collecting Keys. Hit me up on Instagram at Mike_invest. I'll send you some screenshots of people that are in our scale community. It is not an easy business, but it is a fundamentally simple business if you're willing to put in the work, take a little bit of risk, and put yourself out there a little bit. Thanks for listening, everybody. Subscribe if you got any value from this at all. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if there's any video topics you'd like me to dive into regarding real estate, comment below. I would love to have some ideas about where to go with this thing. I appreciate you guys listening. Thanks.